The air was thick with fog, as the last melancholic notes of a saxophone drifted from an open window above Marla's bar, a favored haunt nestled in the heart of the district. Stella Mars, sporting cherry-red lipstick and a trench coat that kissed the backs of her knees, pushed the heavy door open, the scent of whiskey and old smoke welcoming her inside. It was the kind of place where secrets were both concealed and revealed, where the shadows whispered just loud enough for the keen listener. Stella ordered a gin, no tonic, and perched herself on a stool near the far end of the polished counter. Her eyes, sharp and discerning under the dim lights, scanned the crowd, resting only when they caught the figure of a man shrouded in the far corner booth. Eddie Lomax, a notorious art dealer whose reputation was as stained as the bar's oak tables. "Another runaway painting, Eddie?" Stella's voice cut through the murmurs as she approached him, her heels clicking a steady rhythm against the wooden floor. Eddie, a cigarette hanging loosely from his lips, looked up, his face an open book of surprises. "Stella, to what do I owe the pleasure, or should I play it safe and presume trouble?" "The Sweet Marilyn," she replied, sliding into the booth opposite him. "It's disappeared, and word on the street is that it's found its way into your collection." The Sweet Marilyn, a masterpiece rumored to be more myth than canvas, purportedly vanished from a high-security gallery. Whoever looked into its disappearance found themselves drawn into a web they couldn't escape or didn't want to. Eddie exhaled, a stream of smoke curling into the dim overhead light. "You know I've always had an eye for beauty, Stella, but stealing? That's a line I haven't crossed, yet." His eyes glimmered with a mixture of amusement and challenge. "Yet, huh? I've seen men go down for less, Eddie. If you're lying, I'll find out." Stella's voice was calm, but her eyes were as hard as the ice clinking against her nearly forgotten gin. Eddie leaned in, his voice low. "If I were you, I'd be careful whose shadows you poke around in. Not everyone is as forgiving as I am." Stella stood, smoothing the front of her coat. "Luckily for me, I'm not looking for forgiveness." Her parting glance was enough to convey her message. She was not someone to be underestimated. Outside, the fog had thickened, weaving through the streets like a predatory creature. Stella's heels echoed against the wet cobblestone as she moved with a hunter's grace. Her mind was ticking, aligning facts with hunches. The following day, Stella visited the gallery from where the Sweet Marilyn had disappeared. Under the cold scrutiny of the gallery's security head, she examined every inch of the crime scene. Something in her gut twisted, an inconsistency, a thread misplaced. In the surveillance room, amid heaps of digital feeds, her skilled eyes caught it. A shadow that didn't align, a moment's hesitation, an obscure figure who knew just when to remain unseen. Backtracking the records led her to an unexpected yet familiar name. Not Eddie, but someone much closer to her. The revelation was like a slap, cold and stinging. But Stella Mars wasn't one to wallow. She was one to act. The plot unraveled quickly after that, a domino effect of confrontations and unveils until every actor stood exposed under her unyielding spotlight. And in a dingy warehouse on the outskirts of the district, the Sweet Marilyn found its way back into the light, slightly less mythical, but no less stunning. Back at Marla's bar, Stella sipped her gin, no longer untouched, as Eddie slid into the stool beside her. "Seems you were right about digging in shadows," he said with grudging admiration. "Just doing what's necessary," she replied, offering him a rare, small smile. Outside, the city whispered, restless, its countless stories unfurling into the night, waiting for the keen listener or the bold seeker, a place where shadows ruled, and where Stella Mars found her truth, one murky mystery at a time.